I look and I see a wet spot on his pants.
That's disgusting.
If you know, you know.
No, 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 no!
Hi everybody, my name is Kaylie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, happy Saturday. We are going to be doing an Easter makeup look today. I'm going to try to keep it simple though, only because we all know that my face is still healing from some shit that happened back in January or December whenever I was doing all those crazy makeup looks for Christmas and stuff. So, but we're still gonna try to make it look cute. And tomorrow is Easter, so happy Easter to anybody who celebrates.
LMAO, as you can tell, I have like one working brain cell. I literally just realized that Easter is next week.
Also, gonna put this in here. I've been putting it in the past few videos. If you guys have any story times, send them in. Use the link down below. I have a link on how to send the story time in, and I have a link for you to send the story times in. I don't care if it's long. The longer the better, okay? Like, yes, I want to know whether it was raining or snowing. I want to know what the gas prices were, okay? Like, put it all in there, babe, okay? Also, another thing, Instagram. I've been doing polls on there, asking you guys which videos you want to see and what week, and if you guys want to be a part of that in the voting, you can go to my Instagram at Kaylie Leas, K-A-Y-L-I-E-E-L-E-A-S-S. I do have two Instagrams. The one with the less following is the new one that is specifically for me to just interact with you guys and basically more directed towards my story times and stuff like that. Also, I'm going to be trying to do the polls on YouTube. This video is being filmed in advance, like way advanced. So I don't know if I'm going to have that started already yet, but the reason why I'm doing it more on Instagram is because on YouTube, the community posts, not as many people see it. So yeah, but I am going to try to start doing that. But other than that, I don't really have any updates for you guys. So I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, real quick, we are going to do my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I'll be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door.
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, so y'all already know, since it's Easter, we have to be festive with the headbands, of course. Okay, this one's a little bit too tight for my head. Also, by the way, if you guys see white stuff in my hair, along my hairline, that is my psoriasis acting up. I know it's there. Thanks for the reminder. See, I just don't like how these like don't stand up. Like, why are you like that? So maybe we will use the other one. By the way, I took my ADHD meds today. So if I seem a little bit like I'm bouncing off the walls, but now y'all can't see them, that's better. You know what though, we're not worried about the headband, so screw it. Story time about the guy that got instant karma for cheating on his girlfriend with me. I wouldn't even call this karma. I would just, I don't even know. You guys can be the judge of this instant karma, okay? So a little background information. I was 21 years old and I was in my second year of college. And I have been working at this marina in Key West for the past 2 years. Now in Key West, at the end of every July, there would be a kickoff to mini lobster season, which is extremely popular. So we would have a ton of tourists coming into town for that whole week. By the way, guys, let's pray that today they don't decide to mow every freaking lawn in Florida, because yesterday when I tried to film this video, they were leaf blowing the patio deck and I couldn't film, so fingers crossed. Anyway, so at my job we have wet slips and dry slips. If you don't know what those are, a wet slip is a dock that you rent to keep your boat in the water, so that way you don't have to take it in and out 24/7. A dry slip, on the other hand, is a storage space in a warehouse where you keep your boat and then you can take it out whenever you want to use it, put it back whenever you're done. Usually the people who rent out the wet slips are the ones who are going on the boat every single day, and the people who rent the dry slips, those are usually the ones that only go on their boat once in a while, or because it's cheaper. Well, because of mini lobster season, everybody and their mothers were trying to rent out the wet slips, okay? Because obviously everybody planned on taking their boats out every single freaking day of the week this week. And at our marina, we had 8 wet slips and they would all get booked up almost right away. And every year we had this one family who would come and they would rent out 4 of the 8 wet slips. The last few years that they had came to the marina, they had been a pain in the ass, literally. They would have their shit all over the dock to the point where other people who had also rented the wet slips, they weren't even able to move around on the dock. Like, they couldn't load their boats up or even walk. And also, this family would work on their boats while they were in the water, which isn't allowed. And like I said, I've only worked here for 2 years, so my interactions with this family have been extremely limited, especially because they only really come to Key West during mini lobster season. And the only things that I really knew about this family were the things that my coworkers would tell me, because obviously I have coworkers at the marina who've worked here for way longer than I have, and they were the ones who kind of told me, oh yeah, this family's obnoxious, like they're so difficult to deal with. And obviously anybody who makes your job harder, you're not going to like. So I just took what they said, and obviously I believed them. So of course, my first year working at the marina, I'm gonna listen to what my coworkers say, because why would they lie? So yeah, my first year, I didn't really interact with this family unless I absolutely had to. During that first year, I started working at the marina. COVID was in full effect. So everybody was wearing masks and nobody wanted to be near each other. You know, stay 6 feet away from everyone, which I was fine with because that meant that nobody was trying to be friendly with anyone. But that first year, I do remember them having a ton of people with them. Like, they probably had 30 people with them, including old people, adults, children, everything. Well, fast forward to the next year during July. It's mini lobster season again, of course. And around this time, work was going well, but I'm not gonna lie, there was this one coworker that I was getting really fed up with. And I'm not even trying to be mean, but she was low-key an airhead, but that wasn't the most annoying thing about her. Anytime that we had any events going on here at the marina, she would try and bend the rules for her friends. By the way, if this foundation is too light for me, I know I've been tanning a little bit lately, so I'm still trying to find my shade match. Okay. So yeah, like I said, she was willing to bend the rules for her friends, and anybody who was willing to pay her extra for bending the rules. Like, I don't know, bending the rules is in, say, during mini lobster season, somehow getting them a wet slip, even though every wet slip is already taken, which she would try and do, and it was always a freaking mess. To be honest, I don't even know how she still had a job here, because she was literally stealing stuff from work and she was popping pills 24/7. And like I said before, always fucking shit up to get her friends free spots. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So this mini lobster season was no different than any other one. Of course, she tries, actually no, she doesn't try, she does overbook our wet slips on purpose to get her friends in. Now you might be wondering how this works. So pretty much what she would do is she would overbook the wet slips, right? And since they were overbooked, nobody knew that they were overbooked except for her. But if her friends got to the marina first and they were like, and they got that spot before the other person who was also booked on that same wet slip, they would get the spot first. And then we would have to turn everybody else away and tell them, hey, sorry, like we overbooked, you know, you don't actually have a spot here at the marina. But she didn't really care because she didn't have to deal with it either. Like the next day, everybody comes to check into their wet slips, and of course she wasn't there, so everybody else had to deal with all this bullshit. Okay, y'all, let's hope that they are done doing whatever they are doing upstairs, because I'm literally about to freak out. It sounds like they're literally scraping metal off the fucking floor. I can even hear where they are. Like, they have now moved over to that side of the room. Anyways, so like I said, the next day, all the rest of my coworkers and I are left to deal with this disaster that she created. I was literally so upset. Oh, and you remember the family that I told you rents out the wet slips, like 4 of them? Yeah, well, they finally show up, and we're gonna call them the Brandons. So, you know, they show up and they're checking in their boats, but I don't have 4 wet slips. I only have 3. So now, of course, I have to be the bad guy and tell them that there's not enough room for all of their boats, even though we previously said that there were. But remembering what my coworkers said about this family, I really didn't want to have to deal with them getting upset. So I decided that I'm going to call my manager and see if there's anything that we can do so I can avoid getting death, which at this point was seeming inevitable. But you know, I call her and I ask if there's any way that we can pull our rental boat out of the water, since we weren't even going to be using it during this whole week, so that way we could open up a spot for them. So of course, per usual, I saved the fucking day, because my manager was like, yeah, pull it out and then give them that wet slip. So eventually this older guy and this younger guy walk in and they're asking where they can put their boat. But then I realized that these two guys are a part of the Brandon family. And y'all, the younger guy who came in looked flawless. Okay, let me tell you. First of all, he walked in shirtless and his body looked amazing. Okay, he was tan, he had a big bright white smile, tattoos, dark features, you know, like chef's kiss. God took his time on this man, okay? Okay. Anyway, so I'm trying to keep my composure, you know, trying to act cool about the whole situation. But in all honesty, when I try to act cool about things, I just look way more awkward than I did before when I was not trying to act cool, if that makes any sense at all. Anyway, so, you know, I'm talking to them and they asked me if somebody could shoot them a text whenever that wet slip was open for them to put their boat in, because we were still taking our boat out of the water. So they were like, hey, like, we want to go grab something to eat, you know, like, can somebody text us whenever that spot's ready? And you know, everything that my coworkers had told me about this family went completely out the fucking window, because now in my head I'm like, this is my chance to get this man's phone number. But I had to make it not that obvious. Okay, so what did I do? I pull out my phone and I put it in the middle of both of them, so that way I didn't look too eager to get the younger guy's phone number. Well, thankfully the younger guy grabs it and we're gonna call him Jake. So Jake puts his phone number in my phone, obviously, and on the inside I'm doing backflips, cartwheels, and everything else under the fucking sun. Well, after an hour, that spot finally opened up, so I text him and I'm like, hey, it's me from the marina. Thank you so much for being understanding and patient. I just wanted to let you know that you can go into spots 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then he texts me back and he's like, thanks, you're the best, with a winking face. I didn't know how to interpret this, so I'm like, okay, he might be into me. And then on the other hand, I'm like, but what if it was just because I was actually able to get them that 4th spot? I don't know. I didn't know how to reply to that, and I didn't want to look eager, so I decided to wait a little bit before I could think of something to say back to him. No way, Jose. So fast forward to later on that night, he ends up texting me again, asking if he can go and grab some ice from the ice machine, which was locked up because it's after hours. And listen, sorry bud, I just worked from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 p.m. Not only that, but I had to deal with a whole bunch of bullshit because of my one coworker. So there's no way that I'm driving back to work to unlock an ice machine for you. Be so for real. I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
All I can do is pray for you. Matter of fact, bow your head. Amen.
But of course, that's not what I actually said. I was like, sorry, I'm not allowed to unlock it after hours. And then he goes, damn, I thought that could have been my excuse to see you after hours. And I'm like, oh, what? I mean, am I shocked that this man wanted to see me again? No, because I'm a catch, literally. Anyway, so him and I end up texting each other all night. And then fast forward to the next day. While I'm at work, he comes back into the building. And before I know it, him and I are 30 minutes deep into a conversation about the most random things, when finally I realized that we both have people waiting on us. So after I actually do my job and help out the few people that are there, I take him into the back room. Get your head out of the gutter, okay? It wasn't even in that way. Y'all are nasty. No, but seriously, I took him in the back room because my 5'1", 125-pound ass was not about to move 6 20-pound bags full of ice. Be so for real. Anyway, so while we're back there, he asks me if I would want to grab drinks this week with him before he goes home at the end of the week. And as much as I wanted to, I told him no, because of how busy work is going to be this week. They are really doing the most up there. Anyways, because like I'm working every day this week from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 at night. And your girl needs her sleep, especially to deal with all the needy and greedy people at the fucking marina this week. So I knew that if I did end up going out drinking with him, I would hate myself in the morning. Thankfully though, he was super understanding about it. And he was like, okay, well, if you change your mind, text me. So fast forward to later that night, he's on the boat all day with his family. And then he comes in just to say goodbye to me. And later on that night, I'm hanging out with 4 of my girlfriends. And of course, I'm telling them about Jake. And all of them are like, girl, you have to hang out with him. And of course I'm making mistakes, and then one of my friends jumps in and she's like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that was a very convincing statement. So I said F it, and I texted him to see what he was doing. And he said he wasn't doing anything at the moment. So I invited him over to my place with me and my friends. And I thought this was perfect because just in case he was a weirdo, he wouldn't try to do anything weird around my friends. At least I would hope not. But then again, you never know with weirdos. Yeah, anyways, fast forward, he comes over to my place. And it was super nice because it actually turns out that his hotel was only 5 minutes away from my house. And he got along extremely well with all of my friends, which we love. Love, love, love. Green motherfucking flag alert, bitch. And while he was over, he even made all of us pizza. Like literally made us pizza. So he got double points from all of us for doing that. Like, okay, Jake. Anyway, so fast forward. Finally time for him to leave, and I walk him out to his truck. And then we start making out. And then one thing led to another. We are in his truck making out. Because obviously I wasn't gonna do anything with him while my friends are in the house, even though they probably wouldn't have cared, to be honest. Anyway, so as you can imagine, things are getting pretty heated, you know. I did my eyeshadow off camera on accident. But anyways, back to the story. So we're in his truck and things are getting very, very heated when all of a sudden he tells me that he cannot allow himself to hook up with a girl the first time that he hangs out with them. And then all of a sudden, I look and I see a wet spot on his pants. If you know, you know.
No, 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 no!
And he's like, oh, that's not what you think it is. And I'm like, oh, it's not? You sure, bud? Are you positive? I didn't think so. No, but anyways, he got me where I needed to go. So I was happy. And then I kiss him goodbye. And of course I go into the house and tell my friends what happened. And all of them were like, oh, he just got excited. Give him another chance. Blah, 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 blah. Well, fast forward, him and I end up hanging out a few more times before he goes home. And he lived in Daytona Beach, which is like an 8 or 9 hour drive for me. And he's also a lineman, so he travels a lot for work. But his schedule ended up being really nice and beneficial for us because he would work for 6 days straight and then he would have 4 days off. Also, Jake was 26 at the time and I was 21. But I realized that whenever he first got to Key West and like, you know, after we exchanged numbers, he would take such a long time to text me back. Like he would go all day without texting me and then all of a sudden he was replying fast as fuck. But that was only for the first 3 days. After that, he started replying to my messages anytime that I would text him, like all throughout the day. Him and I were texting back and forth, which I know you guys are probably thinking, okay, what's the problem with that? Well, the issue with that is the first 3 days that they got here, there was this girl on the boat with them. But then after those 3 days, I didn't see her anymore. And then that's whenever he started consistently texting me. So I texted him and I asked him, hey, do you have a girlfriend back home or something? And then he told me that he did have a girlfriend whenever he got to Key West, but after he met me, he broke things off with her by telling her that he just couldn't be in a relationship with her because he had feelings for me. I don't know if he thought that I was gonna find this like romantic and attractive, but it put me off. But you know, I talked to my friends about it and they're like, well, just keep talking to him and see how it goes. You know, like he did break things off with her for you. So fast forward, his last day here, I decided to spend it with him and his family. And you know, they're all loading all their shit into their trucks to leave. And then Jake and I went over to his truck and he just hugged me so tight and he kept kissing me. And you know, he's telling me that he's gonna miss me so much and he wishes that I could come with him. And he was doing this in front of his whole family. which made everything that he said about, you know, having an ex-girlfriend legit. Like, to me, this was a green flag, because I would hope that his family would not condone him cheating on his girlfriend. And if they did, shame on them. Well, after I'm done bawling my eyes out watching him drive away, that's whenever I realized I had extremely strong feelings for him. And that's an understatement, to be honest. Like, we just spent 5 amazing days together, and it felt like him and I have known each other for a lifetime. But literally 5 minutes after he left, he texted me telling me that he missed me, and you know, he was saying a bunch of other cute things. So he ends up going back to work, and he called me every morning and every night, which I thought was so cute because he did not have to do that. And then, you know, we would FaceTime whenever we could, but sadly that wasn't too often because of his work schedule. But honestly, I was just happy that he was making an effort in general. Well, finally, after his 6-day work week, he flew back to Key West to come and visit me, and he stayed with me for 4 days. We had an amazing time together. He met my dad and my sister, and everybody loved him, and he also treated me amazing. Like, he would not let me pay for anything. He would open all the doors for me. Like, I couldn't get enough of this man. So, you know, fast forward, he flies back home. And he didn't really text me while he was at his family's house, which was weird, but you know, he texted me later on that night, and when he did, he told me that he made it to his new job site, which I thought was weird because I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? Because he was just at his family's house and he didn't even text me to tell me that he was leaving there. And I know you guys are thinking, girl, slow down, you're becoming a little bit controlling. I'm really not though, because like, this is how we communicated like this already, you know. He would be like, oh hey, you know, leaving my family's house now, gonna get to my job site soon, you know, da 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 da, text you when I get there type vibes. But no, he was being a little bit weird and a little bit sus now. Okay. But you know, I didn't want to seem crazy, so I just let it go. Him and I haven't even been talking for that long, to be honest. Well, most of my family lives in Orlando, but one of my brothers lives in Daytona. And I just so happened to be going to Orlando for my niece's birthday. So fast forward, I spent the weekend in Orlando/Daytona. And Jake and I hung out for a few of those days, 4 of the 7 days, because he had work. But he was pretty much able to meet a lot of my family. Like, he met my brother, my niece, my best friend. I was so happy. So fast forward to later on the one night, he drops my friend back off at her house, and then he was like, I want to show you something. So him and we drive to his favorite place, as he called it. And honestly, I felt like I was in a movie, because the whole way there, at every red light, him and I would just kiss, and we would kiss until people were honking at us, you know, like it was just so cute. So, you know, we get to this field, and, you know, we drive up to one of the top of the hills, and then, you know, him and we lay in the back of his truck, and we watch the sunset. And of course, we're kissing, cuddling, and then eventually we did end up doing it, okay? And that was the first time that we had ever done it. It was literally so romantic. So fast forward, you know, on the drive home, he's telling me that him and I are too good to be true, and he can't believe that somebody as beautiful as me would pick somebody like him. So yeah, he pretty much just keeps going on about how I'm so pretty, and he can't believe that I chose him, and I could have anybody that I wanted, and he felt so special, and he could only see a future with me.
Get him the fuck out of here.
So fast forward, he drops me off at my brother's house, and then he drives to his new job site. And again, he doesn't text me until the next morning, whenever he's already there, which was weird because, like I said, we would update each other 24/7, and I don't know, I just had the gut feeling. Yep. So I'm like, hey, you know, like, why didn't you tell me that you got there safely? You know, like, hey, why didn't you tell me that you were leaving? And he was like, oh, well, I had to help my brother with something, and then I had to, pick up my laundry, That's why he forgot to text me. So I let it go. Fast forward another 6 days, he is at work, and then for his 4 days off, he comes back and he sees me again. Per usual, we have an amazing 4 days together. Like, we were telling each other that we loved each other like every 5 seconds. And I know that it seems like it's too fast for that, okay? And looking back at it now, I do know that it was too fast for that. But in the moment, you don't see that. In that moment, you see it as you two are both as mutually obsessed with each other as the other one is, and this is the person that you can see yourself being with forever. Like, we were both obsessed with each other, but in a good way. We would always laugh together. There was never an awkward moment between us. Like, I really thought this was the man that I was gonna marry and have babies with.
Hey now. Slow down, all right?
Like, him and I were literally even looking at places to move in together.
You stupid.
So that way, instead of going home to Daytona, he could just come home straight to me. Fast forward, he flies back home again, but he flies back a day early so that way he can get himself organized for work to leave for his new job site. But he never texted me whenever he got home, so I decided to go Facebook stalking that day. And y'all, fast forward, I'm so deep into his life that I find myself on his cousin's account, and I'm back 2 years when finally I find a post from 2 years ago with a random girl tagged. I click on her profile, and well, look who we have here in her profile picture. Her and Jake. We all saw it coming. Like, the fuck. So then I start to look even further. And on her profile, it says that she's been in a relationship with Jake. So I'm absolutely pissed while I am scrolling through this girl's shit. And you know, I'm seeing all these posts that she's making with him. And then I look on his Facebook, he doesn't have shit. Sneaky as fuck. And then as I'm looking at more of these pictures, I'm seeing that there's this little boy in these pictures and he has blonde hair and blue eyes. He does not look like this girl or Jake. They both have dark eyes and dark hair. So as I keep digging, I'm almost positive that I found out that this boy is from a previous relationship that she must have had. But Jake has been fathering him, I guess you would call it. So as I'm doing more stalking, I find out that she in fact was in Key West for mini lobster season while he was coming into my work and flirting with me and shit. But I found out that she did go home early because the day before he left Key West, the first time, she had posted a picture with a location of Daytona, which makes sense as to why he wasn't texting me back the first 3 days. So now I'm extremely confused because, like, okay, girl, he says that this is his ex-girlfriend, right? But then I see a post from 3 days ago of her and him. And then not to mention, when I'm 6 months back into her shit, I see engagement photos. So then I text him and I'm like, are you sure you don't talk to your ex anymore? And he tells me that he doesn't speak to her anymore. The only reason why he was before was because she had killed somebody in his car. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he goes, yeah, she was drinking and driving and hit and killed somebody with my car. And I had to tell the police that she was my fiance so that way shit with the insurance would work out. And I was taken back because I'm like, what do I even say to that? I was expecting him to say, no, we don't talk anymore. But then he starts talking shit about her and her kid. But that's when I told him I was tired and I needed to get off the phone because I didn't want to hear any of it. Like, don't you dare go trash this woman and her kid, because no, we're not going to do that. Not today, not tomorrow, and not the day after that. So I continue to Facebook stalk him and her just to see if she posts anything else. But I didn't even need to because after I confronted him about this, homeboy didn't text me back for a whole 2 fucking days. Literally 2 whole days. So then I look on her Facebook again and bro, she literally posted something about how she was so devastated because they had been trying for a baby and she finally got pregnant and she just had a miscarriage. So this is whenever I'm like, fuck this, absolutely not. I will not sit here and condone this shit. So I text him and tell him that we just need to be friends because I can't do this and I won't do it. And his response was ridiculous. He was telling me that I'm immature and I just can't handle a long distance relationship. I need to grow up, da 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 da, lies. Like, no, I think you're the one who needs to grow up, babe. Because if we're being honest, you're 26 or 27 years old with a fiance and a stepkid, and you're trying for your own baby. And you're out here entertaining a 21-year-old. Be so for real. What are you doing? So after that, I just stopped responding because I'm not about to sit here and argue about who's right and who's wrong because I know that I'm in the right. So, you know, after a little while, he would text me here and there telling me that he missed me. Or, you know, he'll call me and, you know, be like, hey, I just wanted to check up on you, you know. Like, he would leave a voicemail, like, because I wasn't fucking answering. I never told his fiance about this because, let's be honest, she was going through a miscarriage with a man that she had been trying to get pregnant by. I did not need to pile any more emotional pain on top of that whole thing. But, you know, she continues to post about him on Facebook. I continue Facebook stalk, of course. Well, fast forward to the next year. It is the day before mini lobster season again. I get a text from him telling me that, you know, he's gonna be in town and he would love to meet up and talk about things. But I just blocked him because I don't have the time for that or the patience. I need to protect my peace. Like, I'm still in the midst of my healing journey. I don't need that. So I thought that blocking him was the most mature thing to do because I was still hurt and angry about the situation. And I knew that if I saw him and if I did decide to have a conversation with him, I would definitely cuss him out and say some things that I shouldn't. Because the day that I found out that he was actually still with her for sure, like after that whole miscarriage situation, I sat in my car bawling my eyes out. My friend met me and she sat in the car and hugged me while I bawled my eyes out for hours in her arms. But you know what though? Me being the strong, independent woman that I am, I picked myself up and I've been healing by myself and moving on. Fast forward 2 days after I block him. My old boss texted me asking if Jake was my ex-boyfriend. And I texted him back saying, yeah, why? And then he sends me a picture and he's like, is this him? And I'm like, yeah, why? And then he calls me and the first thing he says is, Jake's dead. And I'm like choking on air, hyperventilating right now. And he was like, yeah, Jake went out on his boat this morning and he went down diving and never came back up. I mean, it's not confirmed yet, but if we're all being honest, he's been missing for 6 hours. He's most likely dead. Listen, I know he's trying to be realistic, but like, you could at least be a little bit more sympathetic. Like, he didn't even try to break the news easily. He was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's dead. I don't know though. I mean, like, you know, I don't know. Could be wrong, but in my opinion, that man is dead. Really? So, you know, I tell him to let me know if he hears anything else about the situation. Fast forward 30 minutes, I get a text from him telling me that they found his body and he was in fact dead. And all the feelings came rushing in at once. The waterworks came out. Eventually they did. I mean, at first I just felt numb and empty and like I didn't know if I needed to cry, scream, be angry or what. But I called my best friend and, you know, she asked me how I felt and I'm like, I don't know, I've been so angry at him for so long, but I never wanted anything bad to happen to him. And now I have this terrible guilt lingering around me because I blocked him when all he wanted to do was have a conversation with me. Like, me having a conversation with him could have, you know, like, anyway, so they suspect that he got hit by an FWC, which is a Florida wildlife control boat, because Jake was an experienced diver, so he knew all the precautions to take in order to avoid drowning. Not only that, but they do suspect the drowning was due to head trauma from being hit by the boat. During this time, his fiance was pregnant again with their kid. She ended up naming him Jake Jr. Honestly, I have no bad feelings towards her. Like, if anything, I feel awful for her. But I will say, if this situation did teach me anything, I mean, it taught me a lot of things, but one of the main things was tomorrow is never promised. Meaning, you don't know when it's gonna be somebody's time. So if you have it in your head, oh, well, I'm gonna teach them a little lesson and I'm not gonna forgive them until next week, you might not have time for that. You don't have to forget what they did to you, but at least forgive them for yourself. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, maybe hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the links down below in the description. But other than that, I will see you guys next Saturday with a new story time.